Hey everyone, Magic Lover doing a little legacy follow-up to a deck tech. Fun deck I saw on, I believe, Gathering Magic, but I don't want to misquote, so I apologize if that's wrong, but on YouTube. Meritocracy, which is a really neat deck and, kind of off the wall enough for me to like. Basically uses the interaction between Thespian Stage and Dark Depths with the new Legend rule. It's pretty neat. I mean, it's a pretty simple two-step combo. You target the ability of Stage onto Dark Depths. You then keep the Thespian Stage with 0 counters on it as your copy, as your legend. Which Dark Depths you want to keep. You keep this one. That allows you to sacrifice it, get your 2020 nasty Merit Lage token, which hopefully you're doing during their end step, and then you swing with it or fling it. So the deck is a lot of fun, and I play a slight variation on what is listed in the YouTube deck tech for it. I mean, I play all the the 12 quick mana guides and petals. I do play the full 4 of each of the tutors, since basically the whole deck is just find these 2 cards and get them. I do play the 4 pithing needles to name Wasteland in the blind, or anything else like Liliana. If you know they're not playing Wasteland, but like really, what deck plays Liliana, not Wasteland, right? So normally you're naming Wasteland, but anything else. And then Fling is, I do only play 3 of them instead of the 4, just something you only need to draw 1 of, and multiples are terrible. I only have 3 Ancient Tombs, haven't picked up the 4th one yet, so I did drop one there. 4 Carplusins are great. I do play 3 basic Forest. I do play the Sigiri Step just so that you can get the one-time shot of protection to protect against Swords to Plowshares, that kind of a thing. I don't play the Not of This Worlds in the main deck. I kind of tend to bring them in if people are packing a lot of creature hate, the swords kind of decks. Because I never read that fully, just never really paid attention to the card, but, target spell or ability, so it does stifle Caracas pretty nicely. Or Maze of Ith, I've had to use it on that as well. So I do play a couple of, basic forests that I can fetch into. Why am I playing the fetches? Well, I'm doing some filtering that's not in the main deck. One of these will become a snow-covered very shortly, just so that this is not a blank if I already have Dark Depths in play. Crucible of Worlds just gives me so much, long game. If I don't draw the needle and they wasteland some stuff, I mean, pretty much if I have that out, it's just a matter of time. They either have to kill you quickly, wipe your graveyard, do something, but this gives you so much game that it's in there as a one-off. And then Sensei's Top, with the fetches, also as a great immediate card draw if I do have to bring Loam in, for the long game package, and Sylvan Library, because if you mold a 6 and then only have 1 tutor and it gets countered, you just kind of sit there looking silly for a while, like most Glass Cannon decks. So Sylvan Library is a great thing to get out there. Turn 1 off a guide and a land, and turn 2 start powering away and getting the advantage of the library. So that's why the fetches are in there too. There's enough fetches with the rest of this between these 4 cards, these 4 lands. That works for filtering away lots of cards. You get to see a lot of your deck, which tends to win the game. My sideboard probably a little different than what's in the deck tech, but 4 Leyline of Sanctity just shores up a lot of the matches. A lot of the Hymn, Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Duress style decks. Red deck wins. They really hate to see this. And then Ancient Grunge and Naturalizer in here simply because I didn't have them. I just played most of the deck that was in the deck tech, and I was stone cold to a Blood Moon. I mean, pretty much I couldn't win except through guide beatdown, and that was not going to happen. So if that's your B plan, you're in deep trouble. So yeah, Naturalizes in for Blood Moon, and then I also did have a lot of trouble with Ensnaring Bridge. Humility is also a stone cold killer. So, Ancient Grudge and Naturalize just shore up the problematic enchantment artifact type stuff. And Life from the Loam is great. In terms of also, if you're playing a real, just like a smallpox, wasteland, sinkhole heavy kind of deck, Life from the Loam shores up the Soul Crucible as a Mize in here. Pretty handy. 3 Not of This Worlds, again, like Fling, you really only need it once. So if you're playing a real creature control kind of deck, lots of paths, lots of swords, Not of This World combined with a Sajiri Step and Recursion, tends to power through it. And then Bajuka Bog, comes in with enough, even at instant speed or at non-instant speed, to be able to mess with, decks that rely on the graveyard. Noticeably Dredge, but you can stuff a Tombstalker with this or anything else that, it's a great fun one for killing a good chunk of Tarmogoyfs, that kind of thing. And then Krakus, when you're fighting against either the Mirror or Sneak and Show, something like that. I mean, this, pretty handy if they're not seeing it, and then you can crop rotation for it. Pretty nifty. So that's my deviation from the norm, and we'll get a couple games with it. So I've played a few matches with this, and just to give you kind of a feel for how it works, I'll just run through a replay of a couple matches just to show kind of how things work. So basically you're going to start with some degree of, maybe a little disruption. This time I started with a couple needles. So the first one gets Wasteland, next one gets Krakus. I've got 2 tutors. Obviously you want to use the Into the Norths for Dark Depths, since that's the only thing it can get, whereas crop rotation can get anything. So he went to Swords, my Dryad Arbor. I crop rotated in response, got the Thespian stage, and then Into the North, which is nice, not into your hand, it's directly into play, doesn't burn your land drop, so Dark Depths is in there. Excuse me. And that's why, getting Wasteland on the needle is pretty important. Now, what my opponent did there, which was pretty nifty, was to, in response to me making the Merit Lage token, he got a Thespian stage of his own off of Night, and also copied my Dark Depths to make a Merit Lage of his own. So then we kind of just stared across the gulf, and I happened to draw into a Fling, which is, why the card is in there. It is a great way to get past the, if they've got enough flyers, to just lock you down. It did work out, so I was able to fling my Merit Lage token at him, and he wasn't able to do anything about it. So that's how that worked. Let's see. And then this one, I started off with what I thought was a decent hand. I mean, I had stage Into the North. The only problem was, I had Needle going, and then he ripped out a quick Pride Mage, which hurt quite a bit. And now with an active Knight and a couple forests, he can kind of go to work with me on Wasteland, which was unfortunate. So, now it's funny, Teague does nothing in this match. I don't know if he just, it was his 60th card and didn't want to board it out, but I don't think there's a card in here that Teague shuts down. So it's just another body. But he starts beating down, and I crop rotate, put the 2020 into play, but unfortunately I do not have a red source, so he's able to give this guy protection and from black and get through. If I had a red source there, you know, things would have worked out, but I did not, so that's certainly a weakness of the deck. And then the last game in our match, pretty good one. Pretty helpful. I got Needle on Wasteland. He gets G'd out, G'te, which, I mean, he does, I would have gotten something else out. So now here's the important function to that, here's where that Not of This World came in pretty handy. You know, he was thinking that Knight was going to be his savior, fetching Caracas since I hadn't needled it, and it was able to cast that for free, protect it from Caracas, and that was the game. So, anyway, there it is. It's a fun deck. It's not that expensive. Dark Depths are probably the priciest point. And, yeah, it's fun. I like playing it. I'll post some more on it.